In the first season of AMC's The Terror, the series follows Captain Sir John Franklin's doomed expedition to the Arctic in the 1840s, which just so happens to be a real and terrifying incident. The Terror is a horror anthology series that first premiered in 2018. Every season follows a new story rooted in some of the most horrific times in history. For example, Season 2 takes place in an American-Japanese internment camp, while The Terror Season 3 will delve into the disturbing conditions at a psychiatric hospital. However, Season 1's Arctic travels are particularly haunting. A basic overview of the horror show's first season is that a British Navy officer led an expedition into the Canadian Arctic in 1845. Though Franklin had vast naval knowledge and 2 ships at his disposal, the HMS Erebus and the HMS Terror, the trip was disastrous. Both ships became icebound, leaving the crews stuck for over a year. Eventually, the survivors decided to leave the boats, hoping to find safety on shore. Ultimately, those crew members vanished, never to be seen again. The tragic fate of Sir John Franklin's Arctic mission makes it a particularly chilling historical tale. The Franklin Expedition and Northwest Passage explained. The Northwest Passage was entirely explored, almost. The main reason why Franklin's expedition occurred in the first place was because the crews were going to explore the last unnavigated sections of the Canadian Arctic. In particular, the men set out to explore areas of the Northwest Passage, which is a lane of the Arctic Ocean above North America that essentially separates the Atlantic Ocean from the Pacific Ocean. Franklin's mission was not only to see these unexplored areas, but also to collect magnetic data in the hopes of it helping future navigation, via History Extra. Who was Captain Sir John Franklin? Interestingly enough, Captain Sir John Franklin was the last pick to lead the 1845 Arctic expedition, via Sandler. The second secretary to the Admiralty, Sir John Barrow, had various other captains in mind, but almost all of them declined due to their distaste for the frigid atmosphere of the Arctic. Though Franklin was Barrow's last choice, he was mostly well suited for the position. Franklin had been seafaring since the age of 12, via Lamb, and prior to the 1845 trip, had helmed 2 other successful expeditions into the Arctic. Franklin captained the HMS Erebus. Who was Captain Francis Crozier? While Sir John Franklin led the HMS Erebus, Captain Francis Crozier helmed the HMS Terror. This made Crozier Franklin's second-in-command. Like Franklin, Crozier began sailing at a very young age and gained valuable experience throughout his career sailing on important expeditions, via Smith. Notably, Crozier was a Fellow of the Royal Astronomical Society due to his significant scientific findings during his missions. Later, he became a Fellow of the Royal Society, via the Royal Society. Yet, Crozier's experience was not enough to save him from the terrors of the Franklin expedition. When the HMS Erebus and Terror were last seen. The first leg of the Franklin mission explained. James Fitzjames and John Franklin on board the Erebus in the Terror Season 1. The HMS Erebus and HMS Terror set sail from Kent, England on May 19, 1845. There were 110 crewmen and 24 officers aboard the 2 ships, creating a grand total of 134 men. The ships first sailed to northern Scotland to get fresh water before their voyage. Then, from there, they spent a month sailing across the globe to Greenland, via Cookman. The month of June was likely the most calm that the Franklin expedition ever saw. For those 30 days, the crew had water, food, and a clear mission. After July 1845, they wouldn't be so lucky.